And the idea of sin is one that is very human. It's not really something that comes up, especially earlier in the Testaments or in the Old Testament. It's something that came along afterward, and it's something that was iterated on. Like the sins as we know it today didn't start out as those sins. They're something that evolved as culture evolved. Um, so I think it's important to try to find the line between what God wants and what the church wants, because in my mind, those are two extremely different things. Um, the church, in my mind, just as a entity, has never really been one that I've trusted. Um, it's always been run by people at the end of the day, and people are not just fallible, but
They can make mistakes.
corruptible. Exactly. So I think what's most important is not what you think the church wants, but what you think God wants. And that's not something that I can answer for you, you know?
Yeah, maybe I guess I could consider keeping this like maybe I won't be able to completely get rid of all the things I cannot show my family. S- Secrets will remain secrets, and I'm not sure how I could continue this relationship without maybe some level of sin in it. I mean, we we I feel like we could keep it to a healthy minimum where I have this with another friend too, where we just occasionally update each other about the situation in our lives, and it's a perfectly healthy relationship without any sexual stuff going on. One that I can safely show my family if they ever ask about it. But they've recently been getting on my nerves about why I'm not as open about it, with Discord and other things. It's only WhatsApp that they
Mhm.
see. And what do you think of perhaps continuing this relationship in a safer manner and with lesser with more, I guess, an interval for every single time we chat? Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine by me. Like this, even though this relationship was founded on something less than wholesome, there's still a connection that runs deeper than that. Um,
Does it make it sinful if our origins were, you know, bad? Does it make it sinful if we continue on in an attempt to fix, quote unquote, fix our relationship to be more fitting in God's eyes? Maybe not in my family's eyes, considering, well, I feel like I still cannot show my family all of this if we ever do get, I guess, quote unquote, wholesome. But what do you
yeah.
think?
I mean, I know the sins, but what exactly does it mean to be sinful? You know what I mean? Like, because I guarantee you that everyone gets up to some freaky stuff in bed. That's just a thing humans do.
Yeah,
That's a thing that,
okay, so look, it's one thing to have a desire, but they've been put here from what my religion is telling me as a test. There's nothing wrong, with being married and, doing the things that you're giving the desires for as you're married, but I don't think it's that hard to decipher what is sinful and what is not. Because just because I can't tell my family about something doesn't mean that it's sinful, which I think you're right on that. There is some sort of line between church and sin, because so as long as I do what God wants, I'm good. But I may not be able to be as open about it to my family, and I think I'm okay with that because as long as I'm okay with God, that's all I need. What what do
Yeah,
you think
I
we
will
could
also say that.
what do you think we could
I
do
mean,
to make our relationship better in here in this aspect?
hmm, if sin really is something that you're concerned about, then I guess just keep it. I don't think it's a matter of we need to talk less or that we need to be less caring towards each other. It's just, keep the raunchier stuff down. You know what I mean?
What are we supposed to do with not the raunchy stuff? That's most of what. That's like 80% of our personality. I gotta say.
That is true, but there are plenty of other stuff we can do. We can play games, we can just hang out.
Hmm.
I know it seems incredulous, but it's a thing normal people do.
Well, maybe it's because I'm thinking about it again on the church side. I should stop thinking about the whole idea that what would my parents think, and more like, is this an okay relationship? And I see it as,
Mhm.
yeah, that's a totally okay relationship. If we could continue on that path, I think that would be fine. But do you hate me for being this way? I'm not like as easy as not being religious at all. Sorry, I'm I'm just tearing up a little.
Son, I do not hate you for this at all. At all.
I never I never wanted to get attached so much to someone that's like the total opposite of me and have to get into this whole dilemma with myself, but I'm kind of glad I did and don't at the same time. At least
Yeah.
at least you're emotionally caring enough of a friend to get me to talk and consider this thing I've been putting off. Maybe it's about time I make a change of myself and will
That's up
consider
to you.
this whole relationship change. What I'm okay for washing out all the other things I do not like about my internet persona. Maybe not necessarily the pillow monster persona, more like, do you think I should just straight up delete my fur affinity? Like, you've you've seen me censor some of my works on fur affinity, but as more as I go on, and what we were
Okay.
mentioning earlier.
That's a good question. You're talking about your persona
Oh yeah,
and censoring FA.
generally the whole FA thing. Kind of another thing I'm thinking of. Well, no, that's on the church side. There's nothing wrong if I continue uh, keeping FA up if I just, you know, be a little less lewd about it. The main thing that
Yeah.
makes my FA and anything else I put on the social media is the fact that my persona is pretty inappropriate in a sense. And even if I censor my works, that would mean I have to censor the whole Pearl Monster persona as a whole, which I don't really mind, so as long as I can have some sort of outlet to put my art into. But
Hmm.
what do you think? Do you think I should just, not have for Affinity at all and just deactivate the account, or I could just take my time and I guess repurpose everything, retitle everything, and do that all that stuff. Huh?
أنا كتبت في مكتوبة نام هنا أو في الصالة، نام هنا أو في الصالة.
اوكي.
عشان المكيف محرمان مكتوبة مكيف.
ايوه. سكر. سكر تمام. انا اقدر اسمع اصواتك.
Welcome back.
Hello. So as long as I have somewhere to post, that's great. It's one of the perks that I love about the internet. The main problem is that the things I post and the manner in which I post them is not good. Not in God's eyes. I don't care if anybody of my family doesn't like the things I do, but if I can cleanse it in God's eyes, that's all I need. Do you think, to put it bluntly, do you think I should just remove the entire account or clean it up myself? I've done it a few times before, so don't worry about it being exhausting. It's not. It's fine.
I'd personally say just clean it up because at the end of the day, these pieces of art are expressions of you. And in my mind, not even looking at sin and acts and how we behave when it comes to art, there is no such thing as sinful art. Art is a means of expressing yourself and expressing the world that you either live in or want to live in. And doing so, in my mind, actually gets you closer to God in a way. It is,
You
you
think?
are creating something.
I I don't think you're wrong, and but that doesn't really change any. It doesn't change the fact that if I draw a dick and then show it to my family, or you know do anything that's supposedly not safe for work, it wouldn't be considered sinful. Because yeah, in the end, creativity and anything that is human expression isn't necessarily sinful. I mean, isn't necessarily inappropriate or bad, but uh, God seems to have placed these rules and categorized these not safe for work things as bad, even though they're just things. They aren't necessarily good or bad. But this is
Well,
what
that's
my religion is, making me, or not. I don't hate my religion, but it's what it's my belief. It's what I have to
well,
believe
see,
in.
and that's the thing I wanted to ask you is where, if any, do you think is the line between the church as a human organization and God? Because did he ordain that these are sins, or did man ordain that? Because man has a habit of doing that.
I usually I'd have a pretty good reference to that, but maybe it's because I'm overwhelmed right now, and I'm thinking about
Hmm.
the future of my entire decision. The butterfly effect can be pretty effective.
Hmm.
Uh, the things I draw, so as long as they remain, in my eyes, not really having anything to do with inappropriate things, that's that's all I'll need. Maybe my family won't like the things I do, and that's okay.
Do they have to see everything? Because
They don't.
there are definitely, I mean, hmm?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like, there are definitely things that you just are so like you are supposed to hide from your family. Like your family, your parents really shouldn't know about your sex life, you know? Like that's just not something that in any religion, any culture that you really like talk about. That's just kind of like, yeah, you do your own thing.
Yeah, they don't really know as much about it. Unfortunately, they do know that I do have a thing for, I guess, fat characters. And since I
Hmm.
do, whenever they see me, enjoying myself with anything that's supposedly fat, they just aren't happy with it. Even though, even though if I continue on doing this for the sake of just, not even for the sexual pleasure of it, I just like drawing these things. They make me happy. Not even in
Hmm.
the sexual way, and that would be okay even in God's eyes. Here's the thing, though. In in my religion, there's supposedly a ruling that kind of mixes everything up between church and God. It's not for everyone. It's just dependent on two people. It's dependent on your parents. There's there's a ruling that if your parents don't like something about you, and if they want you to change something about yourself, you must abide by it. And even if that thing is stupid and it's not even sinful in any manner, like for example, my mom, she doesn't like me having these dolls right next to my bed and stuff. There's nothing wrong with them. Not I don't I don't even consider them to be any type of sex toys or whatever. I just love them. They remind me of things I enjoy, and I like to cuddle with them at times. But she deems that she deems them as demons, and they should. Th- Over time, as I get more attached to them, they grow even stronger and whatever. Normally, that wouldn't really matter because it's the church. But with this ruling, I have to care. Though she can be pretty lenient on it. My parents are nice. They're not abusive. I may have daddy issues at times, but it's okay for the most of it. Um, I'm just telling you, there can be times where church can mix with God, but as I'm, well, I guess if so as long as they don't know about any of this to be mad at it to begin with, I'm fine.
Hmm. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like they just like you shouldn't just talk about your like kinks to the family. Just keep it on the down low. Don't ask, don't tell, kind of thing. Um, but I don't want to criticize your religion.
I know, no, no, I completely understand when you said that thing about, God having to earn your love. I'm not, I'm not one to judge you or to think anything about you because I know you're not religious and this isn't your thing. And, well, I feel like I can be on your shoes. I understand what it's like to be an atheist. And I'm not in any way mad at you for, I guess, criticizing my religion because it doesn't change anything about how I feel about it. It's just your opinion,
Mhm.
and I understand it.
Yeah. 'Cause to me, the you must obey your parents, that just sounds to me like a means of control. You know
Um,
what I mean?
yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Even I think it's just total bullshit. I, the I can't count the times where I've had many stupid rulings from my family, and I just have to abide by them. Here's the thing, though. The only time where you're, you know, told by your religion to not follow your parents is if they're actively telling you to sin, which is the only time where you're allowed to disobey them. That's the only rulings. Just for your information, if you think they can tell you to sin, that's not the case.
Hmm. I think for me, out of curiosity, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but what religion do you follow? It probably won't change like what I'm gonna say, just curious.
Well, I kind of felt like it was about time I tell you, and it may it may probably even reveal where I live in a way, but I mean, you could probably say maybe the most strictest of religions, and that would be Islam. I am a Muslim. I am not Christian. I am
Really?
not. I'm a Muslim.
Okay. And yeah, like the whole the whole you have to obey the word of the church. It has always struck me as in a kind of ironic twist going against the word of God. It God is weird in the Bible. I have
No,
never read the Quran, unfortunately.
no, no. Actually, my religion itself doesn't believe in the Bible, and I actively think, or not. I actively think my religion makes me believe. Or I don't want to say it like I don't believe in it, but my religion itself says that the Bible is wrong and it has many flaws.
It
And
does, having read it, but I also approached it from the angle of an English major, not a Christian. So when Islam says that there are flaws in the Bible, they see it as logic flaws in theology, whereas I see it as plot holes in a story written by many, many, many people over thousands of years. And I've never, like I said, I've never read the Quran, so I can't really give any like
yeah, that's
insight on
okay.
it, but I'm willing to bet it's pretty similar. It's written by people, you know?
I don't want this to get you know, religious, but
Yeah.
the thing that my religion says, I don't want to I don't want to make it seem like it's the truth to someone that isn't religious, but my religion says that the Quran was made by God, in which it was, I believe it was made by God, and the thing that makes all other religions uh, defective, I guess, is that they were made by
Hmm.
humans, and humans make mistakes. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
blame you for
And
not believing in Christianity.
what's funny is Judaism actually has the same principle. The way that they have passed down the Torah is surprisingly extremely uh thorough.
In which
They
sense?
have so like the way that they translate the Torah is they do something called midrash where they would get like dozens upon dozens of experts in theology. And this goes back thousands of years. And they would sit down and they would analyze like a passage or a verse and they would try to determine the meanings of it, every possible meaning of it, and then from there determine which one they believe would be the most in line with God's will. They are sticklers for um, maintaining as much cohesion through translation as possible. So, like, when you read, for instance, like I think the oldest um, Bible that we have is in Greek, or like a offshoot of Greek. Um, and according to many like Judaic scholars, that is, if you were to find like an original copy of the Torah, it would be identical. Whether or not that is true, eh, they're people. Um,
They're still
but
made by
they,
people.
yeah. But the point is, they say the same thing about theirs, you know?
I mean, I don't
And that's
understand.
kind of like,
Uh huh.
I mean, that's kind of the approach I take to religion is that everyone is so sure that they're the one that's right. But what if God has other ideas, you know?
Look, um, I'm I'm not one to I'm not one to talk to you into any religion, and I'm not here to do so. I understand how we got into this conversation to begin with, and look, if you wanna start being convinced about a religion, maybe you should look into Islam itself. I don't want to be talking to you about Islam because I'm probably the worst candidate to ever discuss to why Islam is right and whatever. I'm just I'm a blubbering mess that's sad about the fact that it can't draw por, and he's sad that he can't talk about the sexy.
Yeah, we definitely don't have to talk about religion if you don't want to.
it,
I got off on a bit of a tangent. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's completely okay. I understand you. I just mean that the main thing we're here for is my whole predicament, which I feel like I'm kind of sure I haven't figured out. So, hmm, I'm gonna be cleaning up my Furfinity pretty thoroughly. I might have to
Mhm.
just straight up remove all other social medias because I couldn't care less about cleaning them up. Um, After that, I guess I'll just draw what I think is right in God's eyes. I don't think
Mhm.
there's anything wrong with drawing Pillow Monster himself. Maybe I could, maybe, and I'm pretty sure you'd be pretty fine with it. Hell, maybe even like it. Maybe I'd just make his breasts smaller if it's better in God's eyes, because then they'll just be considered moobs. And even in my eyes,
Mhm.
I think Pillow Monster could use a moob redesign, but let's not go on a tangent for a moob redesign.
I know. I thought about it. It's like, no, better not say how nice that would look. We'll save that for later.
Dude, if he did tell me so, not only would it be good for me religion wise, because moobs aren't as bad as, breasts that's considered, not okay to look at. And
Mhm.
even generally with my family, I think moobs would have been better as the first thing they see with Pillow Monster, because now every single time my family sees a W or anything related to a W, they even as I cleaned up Pillow Monster's image in their eyes, they don't know all the sexual aspects of the Pillow Monster, but they do know that it has boobs, so they don't like him. What were you gonna
Yeah.
say earlier?
Um, that's a great question. Let me look back through what you sent real quick. Mhm.
If this ends up being a life-changing decision, I I sincerely hope that it's enough to just, even if even if even if you're like end up being the someone that doesn't deserve to go to heaven in God's eyes, I sincerely hope that the change you bring upon me is enough to land you a place in there, and for me too, to see everyone else on the other side. Dex.
See, that's to me, that is the God that I want to believe in. It's not about the sin or the dogma. It's about making sure that people are happy and doing the right thing,
You be you.
which I know has
Mm-hmm.
I know that has no basis in anything other than just my feelings on it, but yeah.
It doesn't matter if you if well, it doesn't matter because you are already doing the right thing that even in my religion's eyes should land you a very high place in heaven. Changing someone's life for the better, and no one else. I never thought someone as oppositely religion based as you would ever make such a change to myself. If I ever thought of someone that would change me, I'd maybe say like my parents or like a close Muslim friend, but a furry? Well,
Yeah, some furry atheist in America.
I love you so much.
I think that no matter what you choose, you should just do what you think is right.
It's vague, but I see where you're coming from, and I think
Not
that's all you
not what
can.
your
Huh?
not what your parents think is right, but you. Because religion is it's an intimate thing. It's a connection between you and God.
I understand. I think this is most of the things that I can ask to you about, but other stuff I think I can think about on my own. I'm really thankful you were here for me. I'm really
Of
happy we
course,
had this talk.
are we still gonna be talking, right?
Wait, wait. You think we're gonna break off like completely?
I just I wanted to make sure that we weren't.
No, 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 not at all, not at all. I wasn't gonna break off. We did discuss something about just keeping it, I guess, to a minimum, especially with the ranchy
Hmm.
stuff. I'm not sure how that'll go, but I
I
wouldn't mind
can
having to
personally
view. Hmm?
I can definitely tone down the raunchiness on my end and just keep it cute and wholesome. I can do that for you.
Hmm. That warms my heart. I wouldn't mind having. I wouldn't mind just being game partners that stream to each other time to time. Like, I think
Hmm.
Walking Dead is a pretty good drive for me to keep going here. I'd love to see you play it, and just replaying it as a whole is really really great. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how. Do you think? Do you think we could like? Nah, that's more like on the church side. Sorry, I'm just kind of overthinking the fact that we still have older chat logs that I'm worried that other people would see it, but it doesn't matter because that's only the church side. Are,
Yeah. And also, I don't know how anyone would see it because I'm certainly not sharing them.
I think that's all there is to discuss.
Yeah. Trying to go back through and think if there's anything else I wanted to say.
Take your time.
Um,
I'm pretty overwhelmed by the whole decision I'm about to make, so you're free to just
yeah.
stay still.
I will say that, and this is exactly what I meant when I said that, like, dropping the persona, you know, even if not permanently, even if just a moment, it lets you have these deeper conversations, you know?
It
It's
d-
not f as fun, certainly, but
Did you have anything else to say on that?
on you cut out for a second. What'd you say?
If I ever cut you off, you must keep going. I mean, I have bad connection.
Um, yeah, the dropping the persona, even just for a little bit, lets you have like deeper connections to people. Just because it lets you get to know the person, the soul. You know what I mean?
I do. I do. Honestly, I think this is something that is unavoidable. Sure, I can have the persona as I go on with someone, you know, like say from the Kissin server. If I am ever, DM'd by someone, of course I'm gonna go with the persona. It's
Mhm.
it's the eye candy for all newcomers, but when things get real, I really cannot be keeping up that persona. It
Absolutely not. No, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real. Besides, it feels pretty respectful, disrespectful.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's about finding that balance between like doing like the fun stuff and then it's like, okay, it's time to gonna have like a real chat.
I know, and I feel like that's not my biggest concern here because even if I quote unquote leave my persona, I'm pretty sure it'll stay and remain in my heart. Or just remain in
Yeah.
the little outlets I let it out in.
Hmm.
Sometimes I can find myself being my the persona I am itself with myself. You know,
Hmm.
literally just writing the pillow monster himself in any scenario is keeping the persona going in some form, so you wouldn't have to worry
Yeah,
about it.
and I've done the same thing every night. It's me and Dex.
Aww, that's so cute.
Oh, that was one thing I wanted to add. Um, the suicidal thoughts. Um,
Don't.
I just want you to know that I've been there a
I
lot.
know. You've told me before, and I'm not. Hell, my religion itself is kind of brutal in its way of um, putting suicide in its there because it's if you kill yourself, you're going to hell. You're not going anywhere else. You're not you're not going to be
Yep.
forgiven for the suffering you've gone through. You're not going to be, compensated even if it was really hard. You just got to keep going, and that's kind of some sort of, and I guess I'm thankful for it. It's a lock. Even if it
Yeah.
seems like it's kind of brutal for my religion to say that there is no escape, and sometimes makes me feel like I never chose to live, I'm
Hmm.
I'm glad that I don't have a choice in a way.
Yeah. And here's a little fun thing. Islam is not the only religion to have that. Christianity believes the same thing, and I believe Judaism does as well.
I guess that's nice to
And
know.
yeah, you are far from alone in that regard. Um, and looking at it from the perspective of someone who is atheist, I think that is the entire point of that rule, is because life is hard, and we need a reason to keep going, even if that reason is a threat.
Just as long as it keeps
Um,
us going.
exactly. The way I don't have that, so
I
I've had to find other
Yeah.
means to justify. Um, and recently, the answer that I came to was that I have work to do here.
You certainly do,
That
and
that
it's not even work. You're changing me as we're speaking right now. You're shaping me and my future more than my father ever will. In fact, my father is the one that gave me the computer and steered and snowballed my life into, well, I don't want to blame my father, but he's the one that gave me the computer, and ever since then, here I am and here we are. And
yeah.
for someone on the furry community to reel it back up, I'm happy that's the case, even as bizarre as it sounds. You should be happy with yourself.
Yeah. Thank you. In defense of your father, I don't know when he gave you the computer, but he probably didn't know about everything that was on here.
Yeah, and he most likely still doesn't know, and I hope he
Yeah.
never does.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff that, again, don't talk about.
You
Shit,
know,
got me crying.
really?
Yeah.
Same here. It's kind of hard to hold back whenever things get really real, because this is about to dictate what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I hopefully, I hopefully hope so, at least. It's not a bad thing in your eyes if I am not able to make this change, but it sure would slow down my improvement of myself if it ever was for me.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was literally on the tip of my tongue going to say it's okay to have relapses.
It
Not like a full-on failure, but it's okay to have slidebacks.
it happens. It truly does. I've had it not even in one thing, not even in addictions. I have had many ways of relapsing. It happens
Hmm.
to a lot of people. And
Yeah, go ahead.
and on top of that, do you don't have anything else to say on it because I would like to mention something.
Mhm.
What do you think of Islam as a whole, really? The the reason I wasn't really as comfortable with sharing the fact that I'm Muslim is, well, 9/11 to be
Yeah,
short, to keep it short.
yeah.
You
I
understand where
I
I'm
had a
coming
sus
from.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a suspicion when you were so hesitant to share. I was thinking either Judaic or Islamic. Um, and the answer is that I have no opinion.
You
Like, and
mhm.
it's not the religion like in my eyes that causes people to do these things. It's just people because as we are seeing right now, uh, you know, people of the Judaic faith can be just as fucking awful. Christians in my nation are like radical Christians are the number one terrorist threat, which
Yeah.
is not something that a lot of people in my nation want to talk about, but radical Christians kill more people than radical Muslims. It's just
My
a
bad.
thing. Like every religion has committed horrific atrocities all throughout history, which is again, like that's another reason why I'm not religious. It has nothing to do with God and everything to do with the institutions, you know?
I don't know why I thought that if I share my religion with you, it would change your view of me. I felt that maybe I should tell them after we've like maybe like met up or something. I was planning to keep this for like a while. I was never planning to even share it with you to begin with, cause I do notice that when you say like you're Christian or something, it's not as as quote unquote unusual if you were to say you're Muslim because
Yeah.
of the way most people view Islam, especially when there are active games that depict guys, murdering Muslims. So I felt that
Yup.
your I know it didn't, and you really do not care if I'm Muslim or Christian or whatever. But I thought that your opinion of me would change, which isn't true.
Yeah, not at all. Don't worry, hon.
I feel like I want to keep this going, but it's 9 a.m. and I should go to sleep. This is probably the most quality and most emotional voice chat I've ever had with someone on Discord, and hopefully the most life changing one.
For the better.
I'll wish you a good night right now, Bunben.
You have a good night too.
I I could just give you the
Hello.
yeah, hello. I could just give you the lame quote unquote lame answer, which would be pretty obvious. I'm kind of confused why you didn't attach it to me at this point. Because I do sometimes refer to my normal persona or like my realistic persona to that of Adney, the character.
Oh, is it? Yeah, is it just Adney?
Yeah, it kind of is. It yeah, it is. It is what people call me. It is what everyone in my house call me, but here's the thing. That's my nickname. I could just give you my nickname, but if you want to ask for my actual name, I could give it to you if you want because I think at this point it doesn't matter. I know you understand me and I know it wouldn't change a thing if I just tell you tell you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to know?
Also super adorable.
I'm not sure
I would
where
like to know.
Adney would be adorable in any sort of way because from from my from my language's translation that would mean tea. I'm like literally named after a type of tea, and that's sort of a running joke in my family. And I really like tea though, I gotta say. Would you like my actual name though?
I would.
Okay, but only if you can pronounce it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so hold on.
In
It's
return, I'll also give you my real name.
You mean the full name?
Mm-hmm. Because Ben is what I go by, also. But that is not like my actual first name.
We seem to have the same case. Okay. Abu Bakr Ahmed Omar Al Kaf.
Oh God.
I just pronounce Abu Bakr Ahmed.
Abu Kak.
Oh my god. You actually can't say it? I've always been
That's
wondering how.
immediate. I immediately fucked it up.
Okay, just pronounce Abu Bakr.
Abu Bakr.
Do you
Ahmed.
do you intentionally have this accent or is it actually hard?
That's just what I. That's just what I sound like.
Abu Bakr. Can you
Abu Bakr.
can you at least try to say Ahmed? Ah.
Ahmed. Ahmed.
Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. Okay, now
I
for
can
you to
try.
show
You
me your name. Come on.
want me to type it or you want me to say it?
Both. You can type it first though. Joseph. Great, I fucked it up the moment I tried to say. It's the same thing as you.
Yeah, welcome to the party.
Joseph Bennett Graydon. You know,
There it is. Perfect.
I would have thought that sharing your full name would have been a bad thing, but I'm glad we both did. What's the
Yeah.
Joseph though? Do you have a reason to why your family named you Joseph?
I believe it was my grandfather's name,
No
as
way.
far as I'm aware.
No,
Yeah, other
wait.
than like, hmm?
You're named after your grandfather? You mean like, grandpa?
Yes?
Oh my god. Oh wait. Okay, I told you that the name Adney is derived from tea, but I don't like how similar we are in terms of what our actual names are derived from. Because the name Abu Bakr is derived from my grandfather too. Great.
Shit.
This can't get any more coincidental.
I'm trying to think of like, so where does Adney come from then?
The actual pronunciation of it that I forgot, I should have mentioned, but it would have caught you off guard. The actual pronunciation of Adney would be. Oh god, hold on. Sorry, I heard a noise. The actual pronunciation would be Adni, Adni, not Adni, but I
Adsney.
just had to make it, in English, and I just kind of got used to it. The actual meaning of it is, well, I'm not sure what it actually means, but there is something called Adani tea. It's a type of tea, and
Mhm.
it's called Adani, which in my language would be Shahi Adni. And yeah, that's what I know about it, but it doesn't have
I'm
much
not gonna
meaning other
measure.
than that. I don't know. I'm pretty sure my family didn't like actually mean to name me after a type of tea. It's oh, now
Yeah.
that I remember it, it's actually another it's a nickname of my grandfather. If that's
Ah,
what
so he
uh-huh.
had the nickname.
Yeah, he had I was given both the name and the nickname, and honestly, it is sort of something that I tend to hang on to whenever I start to compare myself to, what my grandfather was looking for me to be. He's dead.
Yeah,
He can see me right
you
now
mentioned
if
that.
huh?
You mentioned that. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, I oh, oh yeah, I did. Oh my god, I completely forgot.
Hmm.
Sorry, it's the brain fog.
I know, God, I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. Listen, I'm actually glad you told me about it, but it is another one of those great factors that makes me really want to change myself because my grandfather, who named me after himself, and he was very proud of me. He very much was as a child, as a little baby. I grew up,
Mhm.
and he's passed on, and he just sees me, well, drawing boobs.
Yeah. I trust me, even as an atheist, I've had that same thought of like, shit, what if they're watching me do the deed
Yeah,
for this?
I think I probably have a good assumption that they kind of are.
Yeah. My my response to it has always been, well then quit looking. But you have more at stake than I do.
I hope he can at least understand at least what I'm saying in this different language. I'm not sure if he can speak English, my grandfather, but if
I
this,
get the feeling that language isn't really a factor after this.
yeah, I hope so at least. I feel like they would just be able to understand it generally, and if he could, I hope he can understand that I'm trying to change myself. I hope he can understand that this new world that I'm in. It's way harder than the one he used to live in, where everything is just as simple as, well, don't look at this stuff or don't do this thing. Well, I'm
Hmm.
sorry. I'm sorry, Grandpa and everybody else, every boomer in here. But the internet is just shaped to, you know, drive
Yeah,
you into the stuff
it's
you like look at for once. And also, sex sells generally. So there's that.
mm, yes, yes it does.
That's another.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
go ahead. I was about to get off topic again.
I'd honestly just love to talk with you more.
I know, same. I just yeah.
Go ahead, come on.
One other question. What country are you from? This has been like it's itching at me. I've been wanting to know.
Well, I mean, I told you I'm Muslim, and I told you that my actual name. Who cares anymore? I
I
live.
also see that Adney or Atney, is that it?
No, it's Ad Adni.
Adney.
You're you're the only ever person I had to tell my actual name. Everybody else would just settle for Adni, but you're one of the people that went the extra mile to even get my actual name to begin with.
I care, hon. But I see it's Yemeni.
Huh? What?
And I believe, I could be wrong, but I think Yemen is in UTC plus 3.
You. Okay. You are right. It is in that time zone. But are you insinuating that I live there?
Yes. But it sounds like I'm going to be wrong.
No, you're technically right, but also wrong at the same time on a technical level because
Hmm.
I currently live in Saudi Arabia and my origins originate from Yemen, which is a desert. I am not the type to grow up to be a furry that draws big fat pillows with large breasts, but this is what happens when you're given a computer, and here I am. How did
Yeah.
things go this way? I have no idea. I I was raised in a desert. I was highly religious. I had religious parents, but the moment a computer was introduced, that all went astray. And also the fact that I'm not in Yemen anymore. I can't believe I'm telling you this.
You went you went from Bedouin to winning in bed.
Huh? I went from bed
As
winning
a
to winning in bed.
Bedouin to winning in bed. I
What's
believe Bedouin are the nomadic tribes that wander the empty quarter.
Oh, come on, don't refer to me as that. Are you actively searching up something over here?
No, I just know that.
Yeah, what makes me more relaxed that I've told you about this is that I guess you don't have to assume stuff. I guess you'd have an easier time assuming or a general idea of what I am as a person because I
Mhm.
think at this point if you wanted to you could just look up the type of rulings I have in my religion, but who actually cares about that? You nobody would ever do
Yeah.
that.
That, yeah. Yeah.
I
This guy
wouldn't
who
do
took a
that
two
myself.
semester class on this guy who took a 2 semester class on the Christian faith as literature. Yeah, I totally wouldn't do that. What's funny is I have been actually interested in reading the Quran. Although to disappoint you early, not from like a theological perspective, but from a literature perspective, which I'm not sure if it would even work out the same because the
uh,
Bible is like a story, like this long epic tale, and I'm
as
not sure if the Quran
someone
is like that.
as someone who reads the Quran, let me tell you something. The Quran is not chronological. And I
Not
personally, well, I say that it's not chronological, but in a way that would be undermining it. Because I'm just a furry, I don't actually understand the entirety of the Quran. But if you were to read the Quran from like left to right or right to left, there won't be any concrete story. It's it may sound like it's all jumbled, but it's mostly like everything is in its own chapter, and sometimes chapters can have multiple stories or multiple topics. It's not one clear story, but there the Quran itself may not be chronological, but people have uh, organized it together, and they say,
Mhm.
or maybe if it sounds more legit, I believe and I know that the way the Quran is formed and the Quran is made is supposedly perfect. Even if we as humans don't think so or feel it's, you know, on a fictional level, it's not chronological, that doesn't make it any less perfect. Um, I was thinking, I was thinking of showing you because I myself don't want to get into a debate, and I'm not the debate type of person, especially with someone I care about and love as much as you. I don't think this is very fitting. And besides, I don't know a lot.
I will say,
Hmm?
I will say that at least with my friend group, we debate all the time. Like not in this like not there's a difference between arguing and just like discussing, debating, you know?
Yeah, I know. I.
Because
Mhm.
I love discussing stuff like this. I love just talking about it and hearing different perspectives and just learning more, you know?
That's what I love about debate clubs, and I wish I could find those. And maybe it wouldn't be bad if you're open to discussing the whole Islam thing, but I generally don't think I'm educated enough to talk to you about it, because it may seem I may be inconsistent. But I was thinking of showing you a video where someone else convinces another, or at least debates with another atheist. But um, people
Yes,
send
I'd
me
love to see
things all
it.
the time, and I don't watch them because I don't care enough, or I just, I don't want. I know, no, people don't have the time to watch things. So, if you'd like, I could send you could just go ahead and watch like those types of videos. I could send you one if you'd like, and if that'll give you a perspective on how Muslims convince Christians and all other religions that they are in fact right and the Quran is supposedly the right and the right religion, you can go ahead and do so. But maybe you can ask me questions, I guess, and maybe I can ask you questions too.
Yeah, because that's like the thing that's held me back is because of, America. Um, I know nothing about Islam. Um, what little like what few things I do know, I've either picked up on my own or I learned at like university level, because generally universities here are very liberal. Like they don't care about stuff like that. Um, so it's like I don't even know what kind of questions to ask because like I said, I didn't even know if the Quran was a story, which by the way, it sounds like what you're trying to say is that while it may not be chronological, it is assembled in a particular way for a particular reason. Like
Yeah,
things are set next to each other for a reason, like they relate to each other.
I think even part of the reason, again, I don't mean to convince you, but this is what I know. Part of the reason that makes Quran not made by humans is the fact that there are a a conjunction of letters and, well, words that we to this day do not understand what they mean, and they, for your information, they are not typos. Come on, you shouldn't say that.
I
I
didn't say
myself,
anything.
I myself would ask from time to time, why is this thing and why is that? But sometimes, even in Christianity, I think you just shouldn't question something because there isn't a clear, concise answer, and you don't know how God works. We're just puny little humans, and we have limited knowledge. We're created to not know, to begin with.
And that is, see, this is why religion annoys me because that is almost identical to one of the books of the Bible. Like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they're all cousins and they all share so many beliefs.
Maybe
Because the
from
book of Job,
maybe from an outsider perspective, I can understand why you feel this way, but not to say that you're inconsiderate. I don't think you are. I understand how you feel. But maybe look a little bit more into Islam before comparing it to other religions. Just saying, I'm not mad that you feel this way.
Mhm.
I understand. But you might find something, is what I mean. You might find something that is explained better than I do. Would you like me to link you to a
Yeah,
video you'd watch later or just watch never?
yes. Why are you linking that though? The book of Job is all about a guy questioning why like there's other things that happen, but it boils down to Guy questioning why God would punish him when he has done nothing wrong. Um,
I have
and
no
it
idea what the
ends with
Book of
God.
Joe is, but the name itself sounds funny. The Book of Joe.
it's
Who is Joe?
it's but it's not Job, so it does sound like Joe.
Oh.
It's like the softest B possible, the Book of Job.
Ah,
Like
it's
super
Book of
quiet.
Job.
That's also just my lisp getting in the way. Um,
After
but yeah,
periods of
a
long
God
time
comes.
of VCing, yeah, I can have a lisp too, and I can stutter because I tend to go. Well, when you go pretty long in a VC, that just what tends to happen with me.
Yeah, I completely understand. But yeah, God comes down to Job and just basically in this long monologue tells him, like, I have created the universe. You don't know what I'm doing. It is not your place to question. Like, I know what I'm doing. I have this figured out. Don't question it.
But
It's an interesting book in the Bible. It's different than the others. It's older, much older, we think.
but don't you think on the theory of God even existing that God is kind of right? You know, we are humans, we are small, and we are mortals. Why are we to question something that God doesn't, I guess, want us to know? Or our minds are too feeble to understand it to begin with?
It is something that I've thought about before. And
If I ever create something, I would probably think the same way. Okay, maybe I would be more genocidal and maybe kinkier, but that's a different question.
oh, God gets plenty genocide on the Bible. Oh shit. He tries to do it multiple times. Um, but yeah, that's something that I've thought about with Dex, is the idea of like if I had to like face what I've done because I've had this talk with Rad before about Odor because he's a huge Odor fan about the fact that I treated him as a villain and didn't give him like a love interest for the longest time. Um, and I've thought about that in the same as being like the same kind of relationship that God would have with us, where He creates hardships for
Yeah,
the sake of a story, basically. Um, and the answer I've come to, though, doesn't really say anything about religion. It just says something about me personally, which is that if I were in that position, if I was faced with Dex and all my characters and had to explain to them, I would. I just would. I would tell them, I would try to break down everything that I know and everything that I possibly could to help them understand because I want them to understand. I don't want them to stumble in the dark.
I feel like that would be nice. And for a world as heaven-like as
Mhm.
Teratalu, maybe it's not fit for answers to begin with. I feel like there isn't much question or much need for a purpose in Teratalu to begin with. But I know that if there
Yep.
was, you would be explaining it. But part of me feels like that would perhaps defeat the purpose of life in some form. I'm not sure how. But I wouldn't judge a cartoon
Yeah.
dinosaur.
Who's gonna judge him, this sweet guy?
Aw. Man, I completely got off track. Hold on, let me find that video.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I mean that's the question that literally everybody, regardless of religion or nation, has to, ponder is, why? Any of it, all of it. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, like I said, I think for me personally, it's just that we have free will. we're put on this planet, might as well try to do some good with it, you know? Like, the world sucks. The
The
world's pretty awful.
Yeah, God could have. He could have just gave us, he could have just made everybody an angel and everybody does good, but he's given us free will, and that's both the worst thing and the best thing to put on us. It's
That's
subjective.
the opening line to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is in the beginning God gave man free will, and this is generally considered to be a mistake.
What's the point of life if there isn't free will? Because there is no challenge, and, well, you're doing everything right. The way my
Yeah.
my religion views life is as a test, and I'm sure you sort of view it the same way sometimes too. It's
Hmm.
it gives you challenges, and right now I was faced with making a decision. Continue on with my relationship, to which it can culminate in something I'm not that isn't very great for me or my family, or face it head on with my partner and talk it out. And I've had to make the hard call, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what I'm about to send may seem like some sort of Andrew Tate type crap, but
Oh
ignore the
no.
no, ignore the title, okay? Ignore the title. It may seem pretty aggressive towards atheists, but just take it for the
Oh, I'm
points
excited.
that he's about to give, okay? Or if you ever do watch it, just take it for the points that he's gonna give. We can continue talking if you'd like. Atheist ditches friends for Islam. Powerful ending. I don't
He
mean to
fought mates
villainize.
for Islam.
You can
It
you can
opens up.
pause here to look at it if you'd like, or we could continue talking if you have anything else you'd like to say. If you have a
I'm
say on the whole
probably gonna
idea of
watch
life
this
being a
tomorrow.
test, huh?
Yeah. As I just said, I'm gonna watch this tomorrow because I'm also about to go to bed.
I
Um,
think we should both go to bed. Honestly, I may be a little tired, but you give me all the energy I need to go through it. I could practically just keep talking the entire day if I could.
oh,
I
feel the
know.
same way. I hate that I work tomorrow. God, fuck.
So, when I disconnect right now, tomorrow will just be normal?
Uh, I will be able to like stream Walking Dead in like 40 hours.
I don't care. I'm I mean, I do care about playing, but what I'm saying is that you're gonna be, wholesome.
Oh yeah.
That that doesn't make you disappointed in any sort of way that I'm sort of like cock blocking you, right?
I mean like a little bit, but who cares?
Because I personally feel cock blocked too, but this is just how it is. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no, like I respect your ideals enough that while it sucks, it's just, do what you got to do.
Hey, in the end, when this is all over, I'd be pretty excited to do everything with everybody else in the afterlife. At least there's something to look forward to by then.
Yeah, it's important to have for I think people like us.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night, hon.
Well, this was something.